what the ball is in the court for one shot, in this case, is punishing them for this intel game. They're already starting off banning an op that Parabellum love. Can they
say
follow through with
love,
the
but how
Valkyries
often do they really bring it?
That is true. I do always say that, but at the same time, they have shown weaning off the Ying a little bit, so it's not entirely a true point. Thatcher's also a common ban for people, so you are seeing some consistency in that regard.
Yeah, it's interesting though, because Coastline though with Thatcher isn't as powerful a tool, still can help a lot of times, but to see it banned out rather than other operators that may be a help, but we'll see what happens. That Ying, yeah, the Ying ban is interesting because they don't really see it as often these days from PB. Mirror ban next, an often ban we see a lot on this map and from PB in general. I'm assuming the last one should be Valkyrie because
It should
we saw on the pre-show, Intel is the name of the game for PB at times, and Valkyrie, there she is off the board. Because yeah, if you don't have, you saw Echo and freaking Echo and Valkyrie so many times yesterday from PB. It was so strong.
Always Kool-Aid on the Echo and either Eska or somebody else on the Valkyrie. But this go around, not only is it going to do a dent to PB's intel game, it's also a very common ban for one shot. So they can at least sleep. They were going to sleep soundly going into this match, knowing that, hey, we're going to ban that anyway, no matter what. Especially on Coast, Valk is just not going to be in play no matter the team we're playing against, especially now that we're playing against Parabellum. So to start things out, of course, you didn't see this, but Penguin has, or all of PB has been living in chat the past couple days. Already had some messages exchanged, shot by Penguin. Gonna be a good game, hopefully. But of course, you see Parabellum is starting out on the attack. And I mean, Benny, we just saw the Aerial Arise game against One Shot. Defenses did not exactly have a good go of it in that game.
They didn't win a single defense.
Especially One Shot's defenses in particular.
Yeah, they didn't win a single defense. Like that, I watched portions of it here and there. I watched as much as I could because I was doing other things. But yeah, they had a 4-2-half as you expect on Coastline. 4 attacks, 2 wins, 2 Aerial Rise on their defense, and they're like, okay, we're on defense now, and they won none of the defenses. It was 5 rounds in a row for Aerial Rise. That was such a great game from Aerial Rise, and it didn't seem like One Shot could find a straw, could find anything to deal with those attacks. And well, PB are a good attacking team, are as good as Aerial Rise. Hard to say. We need to see a One Shot have some adaptation, have some improvements. You know, maybe they've had 15 minutes to talk between games, figure something out.
Well, what I might have figured out is to start out on that blue bar defense. I know last time you and I casted Coastline, which was actually with One Shot on it, where they 7-2'd investigation file on it. So kind of odd they're in a situation where we're coming off of a One Shot loss on this map at about the same score line. Talked about how on Blue Bar and Sunrise, it can be difficult once the attack gets that verticality, and with Eska moving to the sledge, you can already see this is likely going to be a focus. But look at this, stacking up right now at the mudroom window and door. Flashbangs being dumped in to burn out that shield, but Kilo gets the first pick onto Spirits, a refrag immediately by Kool-Aid, who has taken up the mantle of that Lion, using DE1D to great effect, spots out the Wamai, takes him down, even 4v4 with still only 2 minutes and 15 seconds remaining.
Still quite a bit of time, but we've talked about, like we've heard from Crow and Jay-Z, that spot in particular is very difficult at times to deal with. So the fact that, you know, Parabellum dealt with it in the first minute is great from their side. And now the question is, are they going for the vertical pressure? Looks like they are going over the hookah balcony, looking to take control of top floor and push out players like the Mozzie right now of Storms, who's playing behind that Sunrise bar in the smoke of courts, playing over by couches. Last time we saw it though, we had a great Aerial Rise did a great job of doing it and dealing with those players from above. So I'm expecting the same from Parabellum here. One Shot, have they, you know, learned to at least walk away from the situations or have some way of flanking and dealing with that aggression upstairs, that vertical play, besides just, you know, standing there and letting it happen.
Slippery's taking a little bit more damage in that regard, and not much movement for One Shot. They are just sitting it there, but then again, they don't have much avenue for recourse against Parabellum's vertical play right now. They've taken hookah, and the only resistance is from down below, and no person on the defense at the moment seems keen to challenge Eska on these vertical angles. So letting him get them verticality is certainly a problem, but it might be necessary for One Shot's overall chances. A beautiful shot through the wall, I believe by Quartz. Of all the players on One Shot, he was a menace to deal with on those vertical holes. It's the horizontal this go around, but he's quickly traded out. Swalen even moves things back, but a beautiful shot by Kool-Aid onto the very operator who just got a kill. Might be low health for Penguin, but it's the man count and man advantage. Parabellum. Kool-Aid moves in, rotates to get the bomb down behind that bomb chassis. No, actually, it's on the reinforcement. But unfortunately, Benny, no more recourse. Like we saw earlier from One Shot, they let the bomb go down. C4 shot out of the air. It's a 2v3 post plant. The One Shot now find themselves in. Might be a 2v2 momentarily if Penguin gets spotted, but that's not looking likely as long as Eska looks up through or down through those holes and through those walls as well. First round going dominantly for PB.
And again, like we saw from the Arrow Rise game and previously, there was no real counter to that vertical play from one shot. No C4s, no roam on the top floor. The only kind of extension there to stop that kind of plant was that player playing pink, playing by the bomb chassis inside of Sunrise Bar. And you can see right there, PB dealt with that within the first minute. And next thing you know, they go for that vertical play. There's no C4s. There's nobody really pushing upstairs to stop Eska from creating those holes. Once they create those holes, once they push back those defenders on site, like you saw killing Quartz, pushing the Mozzie out from behind Sunrise Bar, they get a plant down. And at that point, I said it time and time again yesterday. Once that plant is down, especially on a spite like bar, double bar, where you can just walk to Bundroom, walk out the door, that is so difficult to retake on top of the vertical pressure. Literally impossible.
Horse tried his best to peek through those holes, but the moment he was shut down, not much they could be done. Horse going here for Kitchen, verticality plays an equally important, if not maybe more important, but certainly comparable to Blue Bar's importance when it comes to that vertical play. Attackers moving in, gaining control of VIP, Eska still on the sledge. That's going to be something One Shot have to deal with, because in a similar vein, the moment those floors open up, half the site basically becomes unplayable in certain aspects. And thankfully, we're seeing some potential obstacles put in front of Parabellum. See the Mozzie up top right now, layering some pests around Penthouse, indicating that maybe we'll see them get a little bit aggressive on that top floor. Right now, we have yet to see. Round has just started. Prep phase has ended. Rooney rotating up top, though. I think we might see maybe some more calculated aggression from One Shot this go-around. Well, Slippery's about to run out, so I think we can definitely agree on that.
Well, a grenade also hits the back of Slippery as he runs away from the hookah door. And yeah, there are some reinforcements put towards hookah. Maybe some more concentrate effort from One Shot to try and stop Parabellum, or at least delay them from taking that top floor. Because we've seen, we saw in the past with the One Shot game they played IF. Sure, Quartz was that man to stop that, that person of last time with Big Giddy, the sledge for IF, but that's not really the same case here. We're actually just playing Buck that time. But still, you can't quite rely on gunfire to stop that kind of vertical play every single time. But here goes Penguin rushing right in to deal with the player and Kuva upstairs. Flash comes out to help him out a little bit early. Penguin has to back off for the second. Do they know that there is one player right in Harry Potter, melted elsewhere, takes out Slippery to start us off with this round with the first minute. Man advantage goes to Parabellum once again.
There is one player down below in Harry Potter, as you said, but Penguin has decided to rotate back up, not challenge him. That's good. Again, we're only in the first minute. Parabellum have got the opening pick. You have that 5v4. You don't need to push further for that. Get some of that map control that you need to make this site and make this execute happen, because that's exactly what they're starting to get. They've opened up that hatch to allow for an angle down in the Sunrise, and Eska also opening up the floors in Sunrise and Blue Bar to push any of the roamers extended horizontally out, but Spirit is doing that all well and good by himself. No verticality needed. Pushes through Office, finds Swaylin, makes it a 5v3.
Good job from good job from them to get rid of Swaylin elsewhere. They've cleared out some of that roam towards that, that kitchen side security side. And now, well, they're looking to try and clear out that lobby side too. No vertical pressure just yet from PB. They're still looking to try and push out these horizontal roamers, which they have done so far. So the question is, are they going to go for it within the last minute? Or are they going to just straight push on the site? Because they have the intel. You can see the pings come out on the player behind that reception counter. That's going to be the Maestro. And actually, the Maestro, Kilo taking shots from outside, peeking back and forth. Does he have support in this endeavor? Because I believe he's probably going to get pinched from the security side. Quartz on site goes down to Spirits. Looks like they're pushing on the site elsewhere. Storms, though, is trying his best to weather the storm.
Well, unfortunately for him, he's not weathering it very well anymore. Spirit switches to the pistol, and I think both do in that engagement. 2 for him, the Maestro and the Aruni, and unfortunately, again, for Storms, tide was too tall for him to resist. 2 rounds in a row for Parabellum on their attack so far, and any problem is, first one looked really good, but showed maybe some flaws or some signs of life in One Shot. But second round in a row, we just did not see much from them.
Again and again, yeah, like we had a roam somewhat towards that hookah side from One Shot. Those, 1 player, 2 players there. You saw Slippery at first trying to go for that spawn peek. He walks away, doesn't really getting out of it. Elsewhere, though, we had that first pick once again for PB. I don't know where that was from. I don't know if that was from a window or from the main door, but those early picks from One Shot, like I know you have to be aggressive at times. I know you need to play in a way to stop PB from taking that control early, but so far it's not been in a, like maybe team-like fashion where they're just trying to take picks early. Maybe I don't know, but they're not stopping PB from taking control. They're not really getting in their face. They're just letting him walk in, and they're losing fights one after another, unfortunately. I don't know if it's so much that maybe they're not doing well enough, or is it gunfights at that point? Hard to say.
Well, also, we saw that there was some presence by one shot inside of Hookah, and PB just shot him back immediately. They were just immediately pushed down Cool Vibe stairs. So it even seems when they try to get aggressive, PB pushing back very quickly. We're going back to Blue Bar. Similar story here, as you said, Benny. Not much aggression, not much denial of that verticality. Eska walked in and basically got all the control he wanted for free. Have made some changes in their setup. Benny, I do not believe we saw Storms on the Capian last time, but we do see similar player Kilo on the Wamai, who was playing close on that mudroom door. I believe he just ran and ripped open that barricade. Might have gone for a spawn peek. Always a bit risky on the Wamai. Be careful there, Kilo. But I like the idea. I like the aggression.
Oh, I'm gonna ping out one of those barricades in a service that are opened up at the bottom. Maybe someone was trying to go for that low spawn peak on a player pushing past that front door, past service entrance. But last time we had this site, the big part was dealing with that player on pink, dealing with the player behind bomb chassis, but nobody's there this time. Nobody's playing that position, so they should have no problem opening up that wall and at least clearing out for later on when they do go for the plants. Kool-Aid looking for a small sliver. If someone's peeking over that sunrise bar, but nobody from the one shot is doing it just yet. There's no aggression. No peeks here. No looking forward. Actually, I see they say that Quartz actually is peeking from couches. And yeah, there you go. They open up that wall, but actually impact trick elsewhere. I don't know where the impact came from. Probably from behind Sunrise Bar. Stopped the set of X-Kairos, but there's still more available to Penguin. Only 4 more, though, and they don't have any other hard breaching available.
It's a smart rotation by Kilo. They expect him playing close. Instead, he's rotated by Sunrise and can impact those Hibanas. Of course, Swalen on the opposite side of the map, or horizontally at least, has been put down to 1 HP inside of Office. Fortunately, maybe a bit separated right now, but can certainly rotate back to site for his team. Parabellum have decided to abandon that pressure they were applying to Mudroom and instead rotate back up top. This worked well for them previously, and again for one shot. There's not much at the moment. There is one player currently sitting up top inside of Luggage. Spirits might be anticipating that very same play. Unfortunately for him, just tags Slippery as he rotates back on down, but is still top floor control, relatively uncontested for the attack.
This time Parabellum taking a bit slower. They're not having that same control early in the round. Maybe they're looking around, trying to pick and prod at what this setup is from one shot, especially because nobody's playing that pink position. They have lost those X-Skyros pushing into sight as well, so they can't make that same hole into that area. But if they can clear it out from above, they should be able to walk in unimpeded anyway. Though Esk up here is by himself, so he's wary of those roamers. Doesn't seem like they have quite the drone game or quite the intel to know who is roaming upstairs. There's at least 1 or 2 players over by the VIP side. Slippery pushing the billiards. This could be big from Swalen as well, and Vase. Those 2 players in tandem, and Kilo pushing up as well. Cool Vibes just stop Parabellum from creating this pressure like we saw last time.
This is exactly what we needed to see, and so far it's gone unread. You see nobody from Parabellum looking right now. Swalen's on 1 HP, but he can do infinitely more damage to Parabellum if he can just get 1 kill right here. Flash does not blind him. He's playing so patiently, but he misses some crucial shots. Parabellum hit 2, much more impactful. Take the man advantage despite Kool-Aid's loss. Slippery and Swalen, their mission abandoned. He's the only one left trying to recover this round in some manner, way, shape, or form. It all collapses in his hands. That could have been the play. The moment they bring it back, there's instead a PB3-0 just waiting to happen.
Unfortunately, yeah, we saw some setup from one shot, but not quite the urgency. And of course, Swalen didn't want to do it because he was, low in HP. He had 1 HP for that fight, but no one else from one shot was really pushing. We saw Slippery as well, pushing from billiards, but they didn't have any open holes into Hookah. There was no sight lines into, Eska playing that position. By the time they got in a position to really push those players, you could see Spirits and Penguin downstairs pushing on the site, getting the kills on the anchors. And at that point, they had to push. They had to take fights. And they were ready at that point. Parabellum, the upstairs players, they knew the site control was happening. They knew the site execute was happening. They just had to wait for those one-shot players to get aggressive because they had to retake that top floor. It all went their way. We go Hookah Billiards for the first time, actually. Not back to anything, but to a different site because, well, one shot so far. Just like what we saw from that Aerial Rise game, grasping at straws to find a site they can win.
It's a shame too if they go to this one and it looks just as bad as it has before. We're gonna start questioning immensely this map pick from one shot. Because keep in mind, it might be Coastline defenses, but if we're in a position we're 4-0, no team has going down 0-4 to start out in their plan of attack. But maybe we'll see something different. Again, Hookah is a new site, a new day for one shot. See some changes. They've recognized that Penguin runs that Hibana, knows he's gonna make that quad wall a likely target for X-Kairos. Bring the bandit, put those electrified charges on the wall,
Ooh.
and stop them from getting that control. That could have been a massive C4. Kool-Aid's reaction time is just a little bit
an
better.
Obvious C4 too.
Yeah, that's true, but at the same time, good shot by Kool-Aid.
Good shot, Kool-Aid. I agree with that one. Good shot from Kool-Aid. And yeah, that X Kairos are a big thing because you know what? If you want to make sure they can play Vase, play that pink section with no problem. So yeah, having the bandit to do with that. Oh, great intel again. Once again, PB's intel has always been great in most games. Sure, at times when it comes to that late game, they do lose it. But here it is, picking out that player. Pre-fires come out, but unfortunately, none of them, well, some of them connect on the slippery, do a bit of damage, but not quite the kill they're looking for. At this point, it looks like they're trying to clear out this penthouse, this any roamers on Penthouse VIP side. Drones come through, droning out, making sure they can push through. Nobody here from One Shot is really pushing that side of the map. It's Slippery, who was downstairs in kitchen. He's returned back to site, though. Returned back to Hookah. So at the moment, it seems to be mostly a bunker setup from One Shot on this defense.
And Quartz, unfortunately, rotating inside of Vase. Kool-Aid on the roof currently gets spotted out, but what we've neglected to mention is Spirits is rotated to the Twitch, and that Twitch drone has peeked on through the drone hole in VIP, taken out, I believe, Benny, that was an ADS, right? Protecting Quartz.
No, that was
in that
the bandit battery on the single wall.
Still, again,
Like
maybe not an ADS, but exactly, a bandit battery that can continue to contest Quartz's position. Of course, he has been healed up by that Thunderbird station, but they can use those X-Kairos to find an angle onto that player, just as they can with this quad wall. Another bandit battery destroyed, likely by that Twitch drone. Again, two angles now opened up that Parabellum can use to great effect. First kill comes out, a long angle by Melted onto Slippery, playing inside of the site. The E1D rings out, and Benny, this execute's likely going to come in just a couple seconds.
Yeah, that bandit battery is going away. The Twitch drone doing great work, giving sight lines onto the players in the site. This is why Hookah Village is so difficult at times, because you can just open up these walls, open up the single panels. You can get so many sight lines on players. Spirits pushing through, but Quartz is ready for the fight, playing Vase. Another play. E when he comes out, they have the positioning to go for a plant. Esk with the great grenade onto Kilo. It's now down to a 4v3. Time is starting to tick. They have the positioning, but they need the cover before they go for this. Penguin has a great angle onto that single wall inside of Hookah, so we can try to cover, but there is someone behind Kool-Aid to give him other cover as well. Quartz goes down to Eska. It looks like he's probably pushing 90. Kool-Aid, great shots on his Swaylen. They may be pushing the envelope instead, and there it is. Kool-Aid get the last kill in Parabellum. 4 rounds in a row here on Coastline.
That was looking dangerous for... Not, I would say dangerous, but it wasn't looking the best for Parabellum, in all honesty. They no longer had those EE1Ds, no smokes on the board. They just had to push in, hoping their angles, their coverage, their man advantage could do the most. Penguin had some flashes, but beyond that, there was not much to do. Then, Eska rotates up 90. Not only do they use that man advantage to allocate a player in a different position, he gets a kill onto Quartz, the smoke, that important utility. And once that man advantage tumbles even further against One Shot, Parabellum spring the trap and push on in. Beautiful rotation and call to push Eska inside 90, because that opened things up in what could have been, honestly, a bit precarious an attacker-sided map. Well, actually, fun fact, Benny, actually in CL, technically, it is the most defender-sided map in CL, because we like breaking paradigms here. Yeah, it is.
Really?
According to the statistics, the certified Challenger League statistics, I believe Coastline has a 62% defensive win rate.
Wow.
I might be wrong.
It's really changed.
I think it's actually changed since then. I think actually,
it's
so
still...
after that last game, it's actually dead even. It is almost dead even between the two sides.
Well, already, let's see how this goes so far. Kool-Aid with the first engagement, and once again, they're pushing this quickly because they want to take control of Cool Vibes early, just like we saw last time on that same kitchen service defense from One Shot. One Shot. They were playing that roam game before, and they've been pushed off so easily, time and time again.
But Slippery and Swaylen are here to stay, trying to fend things off, but Slippery down, Swaylen might be the only one left momentarily. Sitting inside an office at the moment. One player is rotating over to pick the Mozzie back up, so it's a 5v5 once again, but Swaylen standing in the middle of the doorway. Easy fodder for Spirits' F2. Kool-Aid as well, eating up in this match so far. It is Spirits top fragging at the moment, but both have certainly had their high impact kills. Slippery, low on HP, has to lick his wounds, rotate back upstairs. But Kilo standing on that drone, getting aggressive inside of security, but him and Slip, the only two left. Slip is trying desperately to make something happen on this verticality, retaking the top floor, an important bit of map control, and caught Eska off guard with his back turn. This is an important position to play. Kilo as well, trying his best inside of service. This could happen. There could be something here, but Benny still with Slip on low HP. Kilo as well, alone inside the site. Do they have it?
What holes has Eska made for Slip to play? Because if nothing's to play, they just gotta wait for the drop from Slippery from probably from Courtyard side. And on site, Kilo's the only one on site, so it allows for the rest of the PB members to just jump on Kilo. On site they go. Spirits has the flank. PB 5 in a row. It looking to be a 6-0 half.
This is starting to look, well, if it wasn't starting to look grim earlier,
It looks like last
it
game.
is. It is now. It does look like last game, just had a little bit of a different score line. As opposed to Aerial Rise evening things up, this go around, Parabellum are taking the lead. And problem is, aside from that last round, we saw a glimmer of hope from Slippery and Kilo. That's about the only glimmer of hope we've had in this entire game so far. One shot now going back to Blue Bar and Sunrise, and Benny, that's problematic because this seems to be the worst site in One Shot's repertoire right now. They tried to fix some of their issues, get aggressive on that top floor, and then nothing came of it. They had the
It just
angle, they had the
took
position.
too long.
Took too long, exactly.
It's crazy. Yeah, they're trying to change things. You see them playing more aggressive. You see them trying to roam and take control of the top floor later after they get pushed out. But by the time they even get to a point where they can flank a member of PB, One Shot's already down 2-3 members at that point. And last time too, like they get to that position, Swaylin was the person spearheading that roam and trying to flank PB, but he was already in 1 HP from earlier. He's not gonna play aggressive when he has 1 shot away from death. So he's just kind of sitting there waiting for PB to make a mistake. And PB at that point were rearing for the execute. They had the intel they need. You saw Spirits and Penguin push straight into sight, deal with the anchors, get that plant down, and it was over at that point. So at this point, I'm interested to see what One Shot does. Are they going to really stick to that roam? Because so far, every single round, there has been roam games. There have been some kind of setup on a roam, but that person gets pushed out in the first minute with no engagement.
Well, starting out, same spawn from Parabellum over on Mudroom's side. Same attack as well. Opening up this door, this window as well. Penguin likely going to try to open up those panels with the X-Kairos to put pressure onto Kilo, who's now retaken his previous position, no longer sitting behind the Sunrise bar. Flash grenades go in to burn all the magnets and the ADSs, and he's shot down. Previously, he at least had some recourse. He got a pick. Spirits takes him down untraded.
Yeah, at least last time, yeah, Kilo had that. That was the only first pick for One Shot, was that first round where he was able to at least trade out a kill. But this time, a much better time. Parabellum even did it better this time. They got rid of him without any trade, without any recourse or any harm to their own side. And now we see Swaylin and Slippery going for this flank early, but the E1Ds are important here, putting them at bay, making it take it slower and slower as Eski goes to work on the floor to push out people like Quartz playing an anchor inside of couches, or the player behind the Sunrise bar. Swaylin gets spotted out, but they notice two there actually. It's a pinch, both from Slippery and Storms. Both sides take down Kool-Aid, and now they're aware of the roam this time from One Shot. That does give maybe an idea to PB to maybe just push side at this point. Hard to say.
It is a bit difficult to say, but this is what we needed to see. It might be the final defensive round. It might be too little too late, but at least there's an attempt. Quickly faltering dramatically. A triple from Spirits. Eska gets one as well. It's all on Slip in the 1v5. Make that 3 after his double. Penguin getting the bomb on the floor. He knows Eska is likely up above, or does he not? You can see Eska cooking the nade. The hold to his right. Slippery's not looking. He'll rotate far to try to dodge it, but the nade finds him. Homes in on his position in the end. A flawless half for PB. This is One Shot's map pick. You could be confused for thinking otherwise. We're 1 round away from map number 2.
It seems to be an exact redo of the Coastline we just saw. Sure, they're not starting on the attack, but they started on the defense, and they lost every single defense 5 in a row last game between Arrow Rise and one team. So maybe the pull things against PB. We need to see how they do in their defense. We start off here on kitchen service for them, man. There's already seems to be a roam game from the side of PB with the visual on the board.
And that is the exact opposite of what you want to see for One Shot right now. Spirits, who's on, what, 12 kills. Kool-Aid, the support, also showing up big, now on Vigil. Eska, too, having a good day. And they're going for a roam. When you have looked dormant in this game so far, maybe it'll be different. Maybe now that they're on the attack and they're forced to make that aggression, forced to make that space, get that map control, a fire will be lit under them that will cause them to sail on through the map, clear out those roams, and not drop at least 1 round in the next 6. But Parabellum are on one. They are feeling themselves. They have the confidence in the rest. The confidence is just icing on the cake at that point. It just seems like Parabellum, they're going to play their game in the roam, and this is going to work at some point.
I think it's a big thing we talked about too when PB were like at the beginning of the tournament that they focused too much on their opponents. And now they're focusing more on themselves. You can see it fleshing out in their play and their confidence and how they're doing so far in this lower bracket run that they've had. They just got to win this game right here, go into the grand finals, and win it all out against Air Rise? Well, that's going to be a different story, though. We start off here for PB on their defense one shot. How are they going to deal with this roam that we see from PB? We see the already floor holes made, the blue bar. We see, of course, there's reinforcements between blue bar and Sunrise. There's definitely some kind of roam game horizontally here from Parabellum. And I wonder, like, we saw how powerful vertical play was from Parabellum on their attack. Is one shot going to do the same? Of course, they brought the sledge, but are they going to have the same success we saw from Parabellum on their attack?
Well, this is a good moment to see. One thing that is nice, 45 seconds in, Court's already acquiring map control, pushing into Hookah. This is good, but now this is where things start to go awry. Slip downed on the Yana. A C4 rung out inside of Office and Aquarium, and that's where Slip is down. Thankfully, in a position to be recovered by his team. In all likelihood, he will be picked back up unless Spirits, Eska, or Penguin somehow land a miracle floor bang on him, but he's in the process of being revived, so it's unlikely. And Parabellum will rotate back knowing that at least they might have done some major damage to a player a one-shot. And so far, their clear has not stopped all too much. They can still continue going into VIP, into Hookah. With no more C4s on the board, they don't have to be worried about that kind of play.
Yep, one C4 off the board. There's no more left for them. It should be fine. Now they can go to work on the floor in VIP. Kool-Aid did make an attempt to try and flank up those white stairs, but he's backed off for the moment. This allows one shot to create their execute at this point, and now PB, they have to show us what do they have in store to counter that vertical play, or to maybe, mitigate it, push on different positions, and be ready for a denial of the plant. Because it looks like it's going to be a kitchen jump in, and you can play courtyard. You can play different positions to deny this plant. There's still smokes in the hands of Penguin as well to stop them. There's no C4s, but there's still other ways you can stop this from happening. Let us see how PB respond in kindness. There we go. Kilo begins the plant.
Starting to get the bomb down. There's no recourse. The smoke goes too far. Everything else, the nades, a beautiful job at stopping them from rotating a 5v5 post plant, but the opening pick, if you want to call it that, still goes the way for Spirits. Hilo and Swaylin tag on for 2. Slippery on low HP has not stopped them so far, and it's a 2v4, but Penguin has encased himself in the smoke, going for the defuse. Do they know? Are they aware? He's got to shoot him. No! Oh, thank the Lord! Not like that! Storms manages to stop it and gets one shot's first round on the board.
Thank the Lord, indeed, or thank you, Storms, for stopping that from happening.
If it was a 7-0 like that, that would have been
like when PB lost theirs and they defused it, or they disabled it.
That actually would have been a nice twist of fate, wouldn't it?
Would have been. But either way, that round was a literal 5v5 execute. Nobody from Parabellum tried to stop that vertical play. Nobody from Parabellum. They got aggressive a little bit there. They got that first C4. They downed Slippery. Kool-Aid tries to go up into the luggage and tries to finish Slippery off, but of course Slippery at that point was out of view. Kool-Aid backs off. They have vertical control. They open up the floor. They go for the push, the plant through kitchen window. The only thing to stop them were those smokes from Penguin. Unfortunately, Penguin was too late, too far. Does no damage to Kilo. He gets out with no issue. That's just Storms. Storms a Kilo plant. I remember. I think it was Kilo planting. He gets out. He's able to get that plant off. It's a 5v5. They were able to get some kills. They had some kills back and forth, but it still was the man advantage for one shot. They're outside the window just waiting. It was a done round at that point.
Now we see a new side on Coastline, Benny, one we have not seen in this series specifically, but one we have not seen very much overall. Going to Penthouse. Some changes have been made to this bomb site. Excuse me, if you were not aware, that VIP wall, it's a wall now. Used to be a window, but now it's a double panel wall that, more often than not, teams will reinforce, electrify, and then play inside of there because it's a lot more viable of a position than it was before because of that change. More often than not, likely an extension into 90 as well. Really, overall, that change alone makes Penthouse so much more viable of a site. And for a team like PB, who, they like their creative strats, sometimes they're incredible, sometimes they're a little bit gimmicky. But for a new side like that might have some untapped potential, makes sense why they want to try it out.
Oh, but this is where the Maverick comes into play, though. We had this talk the other day about Maverick not having the greatest use on Coastline, except for this site, or if they're playing VIP in general. Because if you can open up a top fit, run out from there.
No.
Slippy gets one, and a second run out, though. Eska will at least get the second one, or at least will refrag in return. It's a double run out. That's how, make sure you can get that refrag. Good job from PB to get rid of one player. Spirits, though, was the Womai. That could have been someone you needed later in the round for something. Penguin's waiting for a good pick through this hole, through his footholes, or his hookah door. Back and forth they go. One lying down. It's Quartz on the Zofia. It's just back and forth. Nobody's taking any damage really either. And he's just dead from the Maverick, though, from Kilo, who's playing position. And we talked about before, you can open up the top of that wall and then play the rappel on that balcony. You can get so many long sights into the hallway, into VIP. which I don't know if One Shot knows or not, or if they're even playing for that. But still, Maverick is important here.
Yeah, opening of the hole, it's exactly where Penguin was playing. Shuts him down perfectly. Losing that Momai as well, we don't know what impact that utility might have had, but it's always a little bit worrying. When you have that operator regenerating utility, no longer a factor. But One Shot have also lost the Ana. That was gone 6 and 8's no longer a factor either, and maybe contemplating another double run out. He smokes and Kilo sends another nade on in. It lands directly at Kilo's feet, but cooked a little bit too late. It's unfortunately not resulting in a kill. One Shot immediately rushed 90, but it's traded out. Melted looks the wrong way, the exact wrong time. He sees him too, but maybe gut instinct guides him the wrong way. It's Eska stuck in the 1v3. Storm is watching his exact position. He spots the head, but can't react in time. It's 2 rounds in a row for One Shot. We're a third of the way there.
Third of the way there. The trek is a long one. This is a marathon for One Shot to complete, to make it back and go to overtime in their map choice of Coastline. Still, there's question marks why they pick Coastline, but either way, that round was pretty good. Again, the double run out from Parabellum to start us off. They still get rid of that Yana. They trade out for Umai. I'm not sure how that really equalizes out, but still a start for PB and one for PB really to just lengthen out, make it difficult for them. But of course, you see Penguin there trying to take a long fight from that 90 hallway towards Vase, over up that bush towards that hookah door, just taking shots. Nobody's really dying. Quartz and Penguin are just taking pot shots at each other, not knowing that Kilo is on that hookah wall, a VIP wall, as Maverick just makes the whole, deals with Penguin easily. Great intel on the side of One Shot. And from there, with Penguin gone, that intel in play, they know, hey, One Shot, we'll just walk through 90, push on the site, which you saw exactly as they do. And the 2 members on site who were looking to run out on the player of Kilo on the balcony walk back into site, and who knows what? It's 2 players from One Shot in your face immediately.
This go around, One Shot have won 2 rounds in a row. That one certainly looked impressive. First one too, 5v5 execute, not something to scoff at. Parabellum maids are back. They put Kool-Aid on his old reliable operator, Echo, the defensive op he has been playing. Maybe not exclusively, but almost by I don't really know if there was any operator that could come close to his play count of Echo so far. Not only does it solve for that lack of intel, lack of site presence they might have had, there's yokais as well. If they go for a 5v5 execute, those yokais can hop up to the ceiling, stop that plant. Kind of strategy is no longer viable, and I imagine that's what One Shot are going for. It seemed to be their win condition. There was going for that plant, or maybe they just saw an opportunity, and now once they drone things out and see things are different, they'll go for a bit more of the frags.
Could be. Yeah, they might just do that, as they're drawing things out, taking the time to figure out where these Parabellum players are. And so far, yeah, nobody's roaming, nobody's playing aggressive. They should have no problem walking in, taking that vertical pressure once again, and then trying to do that same exact play. Hopefully this time there's a C4. It looks like those Spirits and Esco are in the same place. They could be still going for that same play where they, C4 someone pushing into Aqua. I'm assuming this is a one shot, know of that presence, and aren't going to walk into Aqua carelessly. In this point, they're probably just going to go straight to VIP, open the floor up, go for that plan, because this is a minimalist approach. If they can just open the floor up, deny the rotates, try to bait out that utility from Parabellum, they could make this plan happen quickly. But I see there is one player playing aggressive. I think it's Penguin playing inside of Kitchen this time, rather than playing in that rotate that usually you'll play, towards service.
Ooh, but getting aggressive, like Penguin certainly loves to do, sometimes for better, sometimes for worse, and in this case, we'll yet to see what could happen. But if he does, destroying that sledge would certainly go a long way in helping their chances, but he's already opened up a lot of those holes he needs to make this execute happen. Likely at this point, just playing a bit more reserved would be your best bet. Save those toxic canisters for when they go for the plant, use them in tandem with the yokais and have maximum impact. Some holes also made inside of Sunrise, where 2 roamers are currently playing for Parabellum. Spirits and Eska both, one inside of Sunrise, one inside of Jungle right now, just sitting there waiting again for a transition from One Shot down to that first floor. Concussions and impacts activated both, likely the concussions, to see if anybody's playing on those cool vibe stairs. One rears his head, but Quartz is switched to the LMG, and unfortunately for him, it's Spirits to land all of his shots.
Concussion comes out. Spirits is concussed. Now the shots come through. He still takes the fight, but Spirits is the better one despite being concussed. He downs Quartz, but there's of course no notifications for downing Quartz on Zofia. So Quartz is going to pull back, notify his teammates, and hopefully someone will come to his aid while also covering for those cool vibe stairs. At this point, Parabellum from blue stairs, blue bar though. Slippery is there to take that kill. Eske elsewhere deals with Swaylen. Storms gets one from above, and Kilo's there now to plant the diffuser. And so far, do they be able to stop him? Elsewhere, Melted outside, Sunrise control still in the hands of PB. It's Slippery still working his magic. Melted to stop Quartz. Eska there to help him out, and Storms now in a 1v1, and he's there to finish him out. And one shot will take another attacking round. They're halfway there to making this happen.
Ooh, dangerously close for one shot there, down to a 1v1. Melted just one gunfight away from winning their opponent's map pick. Fortunately there, Storms is a little bit better. And
Yeah, cool. It's most teams these days don't really do that top floor room, do that anymore.
maybe not as much.
Yeah,
Not as concentrated as it used to be. Because I remember
Yeah.
back in the old days, used to be like a Goyo 90 hole teams would do sometimes. Maybe not as much anymore, but we will see a top floor hold, but not an extension, but an actual defense of the top floor currently. PB going back to Penthouse. Now, see, a big problem here was Penguin getting taken out inside a 90 early on, exposing himself to an angle made by Kilo on the Maverick on that VIP wall. Got taken down. One shot utilized that opportunity to steamroll through 90, which was free, then enter into the site, and there was like a very slight stop in their attack for just a moment, and then they continued on in, got all the kills they needed, made it into the site without even needing to get the bomb on the floor. PB right now seems to be a similar setup overall, so likely some changes in individual play is what we'll see in positioning as well.
It looks like they may have also not even tried to electroclaw that VIP wall, knowing there's a Maverick on the board. We haven't seen another hard breacher besides Maverick from one shot, so the electroclaws don't really mean too much unless you see someone bring like a can opener, but they're not bringing any ops who have can openers. So it's not really, the Kaid can help, but in this situation, I wonder if it's really needed for that Penthouse play when the last time we haven't seen them bring a hard breach whatsoever. And once again, that same fight, but Quartz will win it out this time. That long fight between that pot inside of that 90 hall and Quartz. Long fires, just pre-fires it towards him and wins that fight. And that's a different position, but I'm assuming at least Parabellum will not let them just walk through 90 into sight.
Well, that's the hope at this point, but we mentioned before how Penguin's death was the bell tolling for their defense, and the signal flare that one shot fired and charged on through, he's died even earlier than before, so I imagine the moment they get this control, unless PB rotates somebody to 90, could see one shot make a similar aggressive execute again. Kilo's also made those same holes in 90, so if anybody rotates up to that doorway, that Maverick is going to see them and likely shut them down. Nobody from PB, well, we have to see just yet. We have two inside of the site at the moment. Make that one below as well. Yep, everyone has rotated. That eastern side of the map, and the aggression is simply not there, except for Mesko, and below his castle.
Yep, they're trying to hold on to the sectors, trying to hold on the lights, white stairs for the moment from PB, but they're in the man disadvantage. I don't know who from PB is trying to hold on 90 or like what the intel is there for. But Kilo, like you said, playing the position VIP, has it open. Anybody rotates toward that position, immediately taken out. And that's once again, great job. And they're slowly taking control. Quartz now in VIP. They're pushing forward, not rushing this time through 90, but they're taking their time and they're waiting for PB to make mistakes, which they've done so far with Spirits' death. Now at this point, it looks like the intent is to push from VIP into Hall of Fame and take control that way. Take fights, especially all these open holes made by the defense, because you have to expand outwards. It's going to be difficult for PB.
A change in positioning by Melted could be the key, allowing to contest 90, and also with that LMG contesting the guitar hallway as well. He's rotating off, now playing the long angle. It's a good play with those Shamika grenades, because all of one shot have rotated to guitar and VIP. It's where they're executing from instead of 90, so they can burn time over there. Kilo's managed to rush it in, start to get the bomb on the floor. But these Shamika grenades, they actually know they are hitting. He's put to 1 HP. It's still a 2v5, and they do not have the control. Kool-Aid trying to answer back. He's got a kill on to Slippery. Spots one at the big window, but Quartz is the end of him. A triple kill for him so far, and I was doubting them. I said it was not possible. We were 1/3 2 rounds ago. There's 2 rounds left between PB and overtime. Or one.
Okay, I said improbable.
Benny, I was a doubter. But now I'm much less certain.
It's getting more and more to be. I don't think I've ever casted a game where attack wins every single round. I've casted a cafe game where they won every single defense round. I don't think I've casted a game where no defense is won.
Well, I'll be frank with you. I don't think I've ever casted a round in which one team won 6 rounds in a row, the other team then won 6 rounds in a row. This would certainly be a new thing for me. And if you're a PB, I mean, it's your opponent's map pick, but certainly costing yourselves a 6-0 lead to potentially even go to overtime even if they win it, 6-0 to an 8-6, not exactly the most confidence-inspiring scoreline if you're going into map number 2, even if it's your pick. 4 chances they've had to close this out, and 4 times they have fallen short. Going to Hookah. Not seen this site yet from them, Benny. It's only been Kitchen and Penthouse from them. Maybe the switch-up is what they need. Problem I'm seeing here already, Kilo has switched to the Hibana, and there is no hard breach now for Parabellum. That quad wall is getting opened unless someone puts a stop to Kilo.
And we saw how powerful that was for PB. They opened up that single wall base. They opened up that quad wall facing pink. And there were so many angles for PB to play to stop the rotates from one shot in their defense. And this could be the same exact play from the side of one shot. Let's see what happens though. And yeah, this will be interesting to see. And also too, if you didn't know, one shot takes attack first on overtime if we get there. If we get there. Don't know if we will. But let's see how they do this attack first and what is going to be intent. There's one player downstairs from PB. And maybe, is it the pulse with that cardiac sensor of Eska, calling out for his team? Actually, no, that pulse is in the distance towards Sunrise. So there's another player, Spirits probably, with him on this downstairs roam, working together in tandem to make it difficult for one shot, which we need to see. That's kind of what you'd have to do. But no,
oh my. Nice shot by Quartz. Who knows if he even saw Esker? That was just a pure reaction, but that pulse taken down. A pulse sometimes like to be a mainstay of PB's lineup. That X factor on their defense to swing that little bit of intel in their favor, but unfortunately for them, it might not have been expected, but it has been found. Storms, the same could be said for Spirits. Your 2 top performers dislodged and dispatched in the first minute of the round, no less. Quartz might be on low HP, but all you have left is the sight pressure, but it's still ringing true. Kool-Aid has found a shot onto Storms, and it's not all said and done just yet.
Well, at least there's one response from Kool-Aid. But yeah, that roam game, we've talked about maybe needing some roam game, some aggression, but it seems one shot was ready for it and counter it fully so far. They're in the man advantage. They have time to figure things out. They have time to figure out what exactly is going on. They still have the Habana in play from Kilo, so they still can open up these walls and make it a difficult time. Make it so a prison-like sentence for these guys in Parabellum when they're anchoring. Grenade comes out on the Kool-Aid in pink, bounced off the wall, does a bit of damage, but no kill just yet. Another grenade from Slippery. He's trying to find out where Kool-Aid is. He's going to bank it off once more. Thinks he's in the corner, but nope, Kool-Aid is not there. Playing the guessing game. Taking a lot of damage elsewhere by from the window. He's had to try and take refuge in a corner, knowing that the grenades, at least from Slippery, are out. So now these members from PB are being pushed back. That should allow for one shot to make their move.
Maybe Swalen spots a yokai as well. Does not shoot it, oddly enough. Instead decides just to rotate on. But they do know it's in that position on Cool Vibes, and maybe they're not even worried about it. They do know another one is above the door. They'll have to shoot it, but Penguin has that long angle. Finally successful in 90. Different sight, same angle. Able to work this go around. They finally remember to shoot the yokai. That could have been the game right there, but now Hilo is in a much safer spot to get that bomb down. So far uncontested. The yokai has to rotate over. Finds him at the exact last second. That might be enough. He gets him. Downs him as well. Court's the only one left on the rappel. The yokais might have just saved the map for Parabellum. He's got to rotate in. 30 seconds left. Low HP. Spotted the second yokai. But now the problem is not the utility. It's the 2 members of PB who can trade him out and win off of the man advantage in denying this plant. He knows one's a 90, but he looks away. Here's the shots as well. The Penguin is playing it safe. One to his right. At the Hookah Billiards rotate. It's Melted and Penguin to win this out for PB. Quartz falls to Melted. He finds the angle, lands the shots. Parabellum stop the comeback and win their opponent's map pick 7-4.
What? That was almost such a good comeback from one shot. But again, they only won 4 rounds in a row, which was the exact amount of round wins they had in the previous game against Aerial Rise. So it's almost the exact same amount of wins and losses per side that they had last game on Coastline, which is interesting. Definitely kind of it's interesting that that's